What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. I always say this, and I really mean it. I'm so glad you're here. And as a lot of you know me. I like to be very present. I like to be in the moment because all of my life, I was always just going so fast ahead. I didn't enjoy those moments. And I realized the older I get, how fleeting those moments are. So today, I have a really amazing human to come on here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Her name is Michelle, and she's a life coach and intuitive alchemist. And her business is helping clients level the playing field between themselves and the emotions that are controlling their lives. You know that's my topic. We are going to get into this. Okay, now she has faced a lot of things in her life, and I want to talk to her about this because she's had a lot of trauma. She's had a deeply dysfunctional childhood. She had her daughter's cancer journey. She had a tumultuous corporate career. So she has dedicated her career to helping others achieve change, growth, and a calmer shores by taking trial and error out of the equation. And you know what, Michelle, thank you for being here. And these are the type of things I love to talk about because we are all getting way too stuck in our own head, like way too stuck in our own head. And so before we get into that, first of all, I said Michelle, but is it Michelle Barone or is it Michelle? Is that how you say it? Barone?
Yes, Barone.
Okay,
You were right.
Okay, got it right. Good.
Just like
So
Raymond.
just like good. So I wanted to start the way I always start because I think it's a good way to start our conversation is knowing who you are. So who is Michelle Barone? Who are you?
Well, isn't that just a very deep question?
Yeah.
Who is Michelle? Right. So my goodness, we all can start with saying, well, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a this, I'm a that. And not until I started my spiritual journey did I realize that that's not who we are.
Right.
That's absolutely not who we are. I am a passionate, energetic being that, yes, to sound like a bumper sticker, is having a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And this experience that I'm in now, the lessons that I'm here to learn are to be of a forgiving, loving, compassionate nature and to understand myself to the core so that I bring my best self into whatever situation that I'm in. And that is who I am, is a continued learner, an alchemist, understanding how to turn things around on a dime and really have fun with life.
Right.
That's what we're here to do. Don't be so serious.
Love that. I love that. No, I always say that, right? I coach women. I do one-on-ones, but I do groups, right? And when we were doing the groups, we were talking. I think right now we're getting into forgiveness. So I'm like on the third or fourth lesson on forgiveness, right? And so we're talking, and I'm like, we're talking about things that have happened in our lives. I'm like, I'm so glad that happened to you, and they're like, what? And I'm like, I'm so glad because that is the human experience. Now that has happened, past tense, what are you going to do with that information, right? Because that is information, that is learning, that is growth, that is innovative, right? And so I love, me and you are like on the same page here, woman, on the same page. I love it. I love that. So tell me about why the word alchemist. Explain that to those who are listening and like, what is alchemist? I want to get into that.
I love that you always pick out like the very like really cool words, like that's why I knew we were going to have such a great conversation. So alchemist, what is alchemy? Alchemy is all about turning different metals into gold. If you take that emotionally, it means turning all of that muck, all of that stuff that we don't want into gold. How do we use it? How do we transmute it, transform it so that we're in control and we're using it the way that we need to make our life better? What is the easiest way to transmute and transform any emotion? You go to gratitude. You go to gratitude. You go to what you're thankful for. It doesn't mean that you're still not in excuse my language, a sucky situation, but it's what are the good things? Is it a situation that stinks? Is it the entire day really? Or is it just that situation?
Yeah.
And
God, we're
can
so
we be
much alike.
grateful for, I know we're like soul sisters. And it's like, what is going on around you? Don't just
Yeah.
focus on that one little thing, right? How many times did we learn, and I learned this in corporate America, like, don't, are you focusing on the bug on the windshield, or are you focusing at the beautiful view that is
Mm-hmm.
surrounding you as you're
Mm-hmm.
driving
Mm-hmm.
through whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is? And down here in Florida, we got love bugs. You got to learn how to look past all of those bugs on your
You gotta
windshield.
love the bugs.
You gotta love the love bugs and look past that,
Right. Right.
and
Right. I love that.
so alchemy is just taking something that is there that you may not want in that form, and how do you turn it? How do you
Yeah.
transform it into what
Yeah.
you want it to be, so that you can use it for you
I love it.
to empower you?
I love that. And you know what I love too is that, as you're talking about, like the metals and transformation and all of that, it really takes me to, something I was watching in, I think it was the History Channel or something, I don't even know. But the way they make the metal pure is through fire, right? That like they really pull that fire up to a high degree, skim off all the crap, and then you get all of that beautiful, pure, amazing metal, right?
Oh,
Gold,
Nina,
silver.
you're talking about my favorite process. This
Yeah.
is shadow work.
Yes. Oh,
This is
okay.
shadow work. This is the dark night of the soul that everyone gets so freaked out and scared about.
Right,
It's
right.
exactly what you said. You have to bring in the heat.
Yes.
You have to feel the heat. You have to feel that fire. Don't be afraid of it. Let the shadows, let those, those memories, let those feelings come up. They can't hurt you. It's in
Right,
the
right, right.
past,
That's
but you
it.
can look at it and you can go, okay, what was I supposed to take from that? Why? Why did
Mm-hmm.
this happen? What can I
Mm-hmm.
learn from the situation? Not like, why did the divine, God, universe, whatever you believe in, why it's not about judging why they put it in front of us. It's what can I learn from it
That's
to make
right.
my life better now. But we have
Mm-hmm.
to go through that dark shadow time,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge what's there, because that's the big thing. If it's
Yeah, it
screaming,
is.
if
Yep.
it's screaming at you, there's a reason it's screaming at you, and it
Yep.
wants attention. So you can either take care of it now, or you can wait till it gets even worse.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know Take care of it while it's a whisper, not while
Right.
it's screaming. And
Right.
sometimes I'll use the analogy like that darn check engine light, right, that comes on in the car. Well, you can ignore it,
I
but
have.
what's going to happen if you keep ignoring it for months and months and months, and then you
Yep.
have no car?
Right.
So if the check engine light is on, there's a reason
There's a
that these
reason.
shadows are coming up. These shadows are for us. We should
Mm.
thank them. We should be
Mm-hmm.
thanking them.
Yes. Oh my God.
We should be
Yes.
thanking them and going, what is it that you need from me?
Right,
What,
right.
what
What am I learning here? Right,
right.
right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I love
Exactly.
that. I love that. I didn't even know that. Yeah, I don't really know too much about shadow work. I never really
Hmm.
got into learning too much of it, but it's funny because a lot of what you're saying is what I do. I just
Hmm.
never called it shadow work because it's not what I call it, right? I don't know. I don't know what that
Yeah.
is. But I do want to go back a little bit if you can,
Hmm.
because I did read a lot of heavy things in your bio, right? So people are here listening to you and they're like, okay, so she's transcended a lot of that,
Hmm.
but there's a lot, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. Like I know that is your daughter well?
My daughter is amazing and well.
Okay.
Krista is 28. She has a consulting business.
Oh, good.
She integrates systems and operations. They call her the Wizard of Ops. She's
Okay. I
absolutely
love that.
amazing.
I
Um,
love that.
yeah,
Good. Good.
she's
Because I read that and I'm like, I don't want to touch on a subject it's a little difficult to transcend, because let's be real, the pain is pain, right? And
Mhm,
yes, we've gone through a lot in our lives, but there's also ways to overcome that. And I want to talk about that with you, because I know that we
mhm,
talked about traumas in your life and dysfunctional
right.
childhood and all of those things that you've gone through. So what was that like? And then when did you make that decision to transcend that?
Wow. So it's definitely a journey.
Yeah.
That had to be transcended pretty much right then and there.
Mm.
Um, when it first happens, and those, out there that have ever been dealt a diagnosis, a life-changing diagnosis, they'll know it's like a bag, or I used to say it was like someone put a burlap sack over my head. The lights went out and I forgot
Mm.
how to talk, walk, or breathe.
I bet that's
And
right.
you don't know what to do in that moment.
Right.
And the biggest thing that helped me, and why I wanted to be there to help others do that and be that advocate, which is why I went into healthcare, was my husband walked in, everybody's crying, right? And I mean, she had it's a devastating diagnosis. They
Yeah.
said less than 2 to 5% chance she'd make it a week. Like, what do you
Wow.
even do with that information?
Right. Right.
And so in that moment, God bless my husband, he said, we're there's no other option. We will not give up. And there's no other option that she will not be here on this earth. So everybody go home, cry,
Yeah.
process, take what, do what ever you have to do. But when you come here and you're with us in this room, or you're supporting Michelle, or you're here with Krista, it is happy. This is our new home away from home. This is where our heart is.
Yeah.
And which
Yeah.
is what I used to tell everyone at the hospital. Wherever, your home is where your heart is. And right now
That's
your
right.
heart is laying in that hospital bed. This is your home. Treat it
Right.
like your home. And that is how we got through it. We would have
Mm-hmm.
dinner at the hospital and I would make her set the table. That was the little bedside tray table,
Right.
we made it fun. We would dance, we would sing. She was 3. Um,
Oh, she was a
oh,
peanut.
just
Oh,
she thought it was the funniest thing, right? So here I am, young mom to some standards, and never away from my husband ever, right? And I'm sleeping at the hospital. I won't leave her side. I made that promise. And she's starting to lose her hair, and she would twist it and pull it and hand it to me and go, and she's laughing. And I'm
what I
trying
love
to
about
hold
kids.
back,
Yeah.
like my
Yeah.
heart's breaking. And I had to, in that moment, go, this isn't my journey. This is hers. And
Yeah.
so I had to make it fun. I had
Right.
to make it fun. And
Right.
I believe that mentality, the never give up, the make it fun, is what helped her battle what she needed to battle.
Well, yeah, because at that age, right? So, you know this information, but between birth and like 7 years old, you are literally just ingesting programs. Your subconscious is being full right now. You don't have a conscious brain yet, right? You're not analyzing and thinking yet. So, what you instilled in her, right, was, oh, I'm here, my family's here, we're happy, we're joyous, blah blah blah. This is but kid is a kid, right? A kid is a kid. Now,
Mhm.
she could have taken that if you would have given her just a ton of drama or let people cry around her all
Mhm.
the time. That could have been her program, but it
Right.
wasn't.
Right.
Her program was what? I got this. I'm saying, just subconsciously, mom and dad has this. And if I'm secure in my parents, then
Mhm.
I'm secure, right? I
Yeah.
love that. My brother, when he was around, I think he was 2 as well, had leukemia, and they
Mhm.
also the last session told my mother, just go home, try to make his funeral arrangements, stuff like that. There's literally nothing else we can do, right? And she went home, she cried, she went to a
Mhm.
church that she never knew, sat in the back, cried hysterically. But he was a little peanut, right? So he didn't know any better. So at the church, he was like, my mother's looking for him because she was crying, so she couldn't find him. He was in the front with the pastor, just singing and dancing in the front of the church and with his diaper on. But you know what? He is 47 now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, and
Mhm.
he was only 2. So I so know what you're talking about, Michelle. And it's just to inspire those who
Mhm.
are listening, that even, let's say that it doesn't turn out that way, and the person passes away, or the person gets
Mhm.
extremely ill or whatever, you can still enjoy the moments. You can still enjoy the moments.
Absolutely. And
It
it's the
doesn't have to be that
right.
way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's the mindset that goes in it.
Yeah.
And, and jumping years ahead, my father-in-law was here, and he stayed with us for the last 3 years of his life. And even the last week, we had, I don't want to say it wasn't like we were partying, but we had fun. We made
Yeah.
peace. We talked. I
Why not?
sang to him. I'll never forget that. Just, and at the hospital, we used to have to do that a lot. And
Right.
my gosh, I could tell you just stories about making the environment what you want it to be, or what that
Mm-hmm.
person has told you they want it to be. Every moment
Yeah,
is truly a gift, right?
it
And you
is.
need to be present. The phone doesn't matter at that time.
Mm-hmm.
The TV, the crap going on around the world, none of it matters except what is in that room, which is your heart.
That's
And
right.
that is all that matters.
Right.
But as far as the spiritual journey aspect, yeah, I went through all the stages of grief. I went through
Of
being
course.
really ticked off, losing faith in,
Mm-hmm.
not losing my faith in the divine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What the hell, just being mad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, and
That's real.
there was a miracle situation that happened one night, and maybe we'll save that for another show, but that one, it changed everything. And I was visited by somebody
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody knew was there. No one
Mm-hmm.
knows who their name is. Um, and I was able to talk it out and have that forgiveness in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
accept that. Let me change that word. Trust that what was happening was for the best.
Right.
And
Right. And that's so hard.
that is a big pill to swallow.
Yes, it is. That is
Is
so
But if
hard.
you ask Krista, if you and you can ask me anytime, would you change anything in your life, including that experience?
Right.
And she has said absolutely not, and I will say absolutely not, because it has made us who we are today.
Yeah. 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 That's so wonderful. I'm so glad she's well. I really am. And I'm glad she's kicking ass too. She's doing her
She
thing.
is.
Good for her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me how you're helping your people now, because you've transcended a lot of things, right? So
Mhm.
your childhood trauma and all of that, and then trauma again, right? With an ill child, that is trauma to the heart,
Mhm.
to the mind, to everything. And so, what was that for you? Like, when did you say, okay, I really do have to transcend this, right? But then I
Mhm.
also have to help others. So that, those are two different things, right? So how did you transcend this to help other people? Like, yeah.
So good. Yeah. So when I was in the hospital, and I'll try and be really short about it, but when I was in the hospital, the first thing I wanted when we got the diagnosis was I wanted another parent. Medical team was great. Nurses were great. I wanted another mom to come in and tell me it's going to be okay.
Right.
You've got this. Because there were a lot of people going, I don't know how you're, and please, anyone
Ugh,
out there that's
yeah.
listening, don't ever say these words. I don't know how you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I don't
God.
know either, but I don't have a choice. So
Right.
so I never liked that term. I don't know how you're doing this. So I wanted to be there, as I wanted someone to be there for me. And that was not in place at the time. So
Right.
I dove into volunteering at the hospital and creating a program where we would match parents up with the parents
Wow.
going through situations so that they could visit and help them walk
That's
them through the
amazing.
first few weeks of whatever was happening. And
Right.
so then I got hired as the family advocate, and that was amazing. And then I worked my way up to director, and then executive director, and then
Wow.
toxicity struck. But it was the most amazing 10 years. It was a career that I had only dreamt about. And it was so good and so rewarding. And I still
Hmm.
have so many amazing memories and people that I came in contact with, people that I helped, uh, and not all of them ended well, but we made the most of the moments. We
Well,
made
you also, said just a few moments ago how you had to trust. That's something, this was for something good at some level, right? And the truth is yeah, of course, not everything ends well because all of us have an expiration date. We all do, right? And it's not fun, and we all love each other. So it's hard when that person is missing. It leaves a hole. So I get that pain, but also the journey, right? So if you took the time out of your hurt and pain and said, I'm going to pour back, you don't know how you transformed those people's lives, even if it didn't turn out the way they wanted. At least they had support while they were going through it. Right.
Yeah.
And so there is always something good out of tragedy. Nobody wants to say that because it's taboo, and because everybody wants to be, empathetic, right? And sympathetic to what that person is
Absolutely.
going through.
Absolutely.
But you also have to be careful that we don't also keep adopting this victim mentality either. There are good things that come out of tragedy. There are.
There
right?
are.
There are.
I mean, what the whole thing taught us, how it brought us back together as a family. And this goes back to the check engine light, full circle here. There were things that were happening in our life as a family that things needed to change, or we were going down probably what was the wrong path. Like things were just not meshing well. That made everything stop. All of our priorities got realigned, and everything settled into a new normal. And so that's why I'm such an advocate with, if your body, if your intuition, if your soul, if your spirit is whispering to you, you have two choices. You can listen now and make the changes your way and be in control, or you can wait until your shadows are screaming and having a temper tantrum, and then the universe, divine, makes things happen, and you cannot judge how it happens. You're going to ultimately get what you want, but if you don't take control while it's a whisper, it's going to turn into a screaming match.
It sure is.
And it's going to be a pathway through tragedy when it could have gone a very different way.
That's right. That's right. So tell me what you're doing then now with clients. Like, I know that you did that medical work for a few years, and now you're coaching and everything. So what does that look like when a client calls you and they want to work with you? What is that process?
So, basically I'm working with women that are feeling overwhelmed. They're lost. They're out of control. Something big has happened and they've lost their identity, right? And I'm helping them transform their lives. I use processes and techniques that I've learned through my journey, and I create a custom program for them to help them uncover the control that they never thought they had.
That's awesome.
Then that way they get to not only find themselves, but free their best self, so that they can learn how to respond in situations. They can learn to respond in with their families and relationships. So relationships get better, life gets easier, you're more peaceful, right? Because everything is more at ease, and then you get to have fun. You get to bring fun back into your life.
Right. Which is allowed.
Yes,
right?
but
it's allowed.
We are here to have fun and stop taking life so seriously. Yes, crappy things happen, and I get that. But what are we supposed to learn from those situations?
Yeah. So what is that when somebody who is listening right now, I have a lot of women who listen to the show, right? I think it's right 55% women right now listening to the show. And what does that look like to work with you though? Is it like I know you customize the plan. So is it like a 3-month program, 6-month program, a year? Like, what does that look like?
So I have my 3-month program. And the reason why I do 3 months is because the first month we're going to get down and dirty with those shadows, those voices, those annoying, pesky voices, the fear and all that. We have to get to know them. Then I'm going to teach the client how to transmute them, how to listen, acknowledge, and move forward. And then we get to solidify it. We get to make it into a new way of being. So the first month is about getting to understand it all. The second month is starting to apply the techniques and getting good at it. The third month is really seeing and solidifying the whole transformation.
That's awesome. That's
Mm-hmm.
great. That's
Yeah.
really, really great. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about a few people in my head who could utilize something like this that had big things happen to them,
Yeah.
and even in my own family. And I think that what's happened to some is they've gotten stuck. They are literally just stuck. Like they wake up and sleep with the same tragedy that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a awful place to be. Awful, right? Because you're continually hurting over and over again, almost like a movie, right? Stuck on a loop.
Yeah.
So if and I know that some of them listen to the show, so I'm excited. So if they want to work with you, if they want to like reach out to you, like where do they do that? And do you give like a free call for them to go through it with them? Like how does that look?
Yes, yes, and yes. So
Okay.
I've been there. I've been
Yeah.
that stuck replaying. I've been
Yeah.
the one that's having to see the person that created trauma every single day that's still in the
Yeah.
family. I've been there, so I can speak to it. I've lived it, but I've learned how to alchemize it, to change it,
Yeah.
and to learn how to forgive. And it's a process. It's not as hard as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
Um, and it just opens your heart again. So mokshagrace.com. They can visit my website, book a call. It's a 45-minute call. We get to know each other, understand what's happening. Can I help? If I can't, I'm going to refer them to someone that can. And I am talking about doing like a one-off and doing like a month if we're going to be very specific on one thing.
One
So they
thing.
can definitely check out all of that on my website on mokshagrace.com, and look for me anywhere on social media under I think it's like hashtag mokshagrace. So I'm all over the place.
That's
You
awesome.
can find me. But the
Okay.
bottom line is calming the chaos.
So spell that for me. The website and spell it.
Moksha Grace is Moksha, and it's actually Sanskrit for liberation and freedom,
Awesome.
which is exactly what we want. And then we do it gracefully. So mokshagrace.com.
I love it, Michelle. I was looking forward to this conversation because we had so much in common and so much fun just when we
Yes.
had a little meet and greet. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to thank you very much for being on here and for just, going there with your pain, going there and letting us know what you've been through because we're all going through life. We're all going through life. And I
Absolutely.
want people to know that there are people that are out here doing this kind of work, shadow work and everything to help
Mm-hmm.
people transcend that because we don't need to be stuck, So thank you from the bottom of my soul for having this conversation with me and for having this moment. I really appreciate you. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
I
Thank you
love
for
it.
having me.
I love it. And guys, thank you for hanging out with us. Don't you love her? I know, I know, I know, I know. Best humans on the planet. I told you. So I'm going to make sure to link all of her information below so that you can share it because maybe you don't need it, but I know you know someone who does. I know you know someone who does.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff because we're trying to keep growing, to keep impacting people's lives one at a time because that's what we're here for. Our lives are not just for us. Our lives and experiences are to impact somebody else's life. So make sure you guys do that. This is Neena Perez. This is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. I love you. Until next time.